Last week, I invited you to think about deconstructed beef Wellington as a metaphor for our deconstructed world. I left you with an invitation to deepen your faith in yourself and humanity and to let your imagination and creativity expand so we can be part of the great turning, an epic change from destructive living to sustainable life for all. This week, I'm asking you to picture a plate again, only this time it has 4 of the basic food groups on it. And if you really want, you're welcome to keep your beef Wellington on your plate. Just make room for 3 more dishes. Our meal is made of grains, greens, protein, and fruit. Hang on to your image of your plate. Today, I'm using the work of Joanna Macy and Christopher Johnston, co-authors of Act of Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In Without Going Crazy. They offer 4 important stages of the journey toward the Great Turning. I'm using our plate of 4 food groups as a metaphor to their 4 steps. First is gratitude. That's our grains. Then there's grief and pain. That's our greens. And for all of you veggies out there, trust me on this one. And then there's transformation, our protein, and going forth, our fruit. Each step is practiced for nourishment, like a meal, again and again. Each time we practice, we experience the taste differently, with greater appreciation for the growth and the preparation of our dish. First is the grains of gratitude. I invite you to picture a golden wheat field blowing in the wind, or the deep green of a rice paddy, or the delicate husk of oat. Look at that vision. Now taste your pasta or your bread. Feel gratitude for the beauty you see and taste. Practicing gratitude depends on a sense of wonder. It deepens our sense of wonder, our thankfulness and appreciation. It builds a foundation for resiliency and balance in life. It builds trust and generosity. Gratitude reduces consumerism by increasing satisfaction with what we have rather than what we don't have. You may be wondering how we can practice gratitude when our world is in the middle of a pandemic, climate crisis, and an economic disaster. Gratitude is the preparation to a change in our consciousness. It's to prepare us for the bitterness of despair. The grains of gratitude give us sustenance to face our deep grief for the pain in our lives and in our world. So next on our plate are the greens. And I chose bitter herbs and the salt of tears for the pain and the grief to honor our Jewish ancestors and our siblings who celebrated Passover last week. In this transforming step, we face the horror and the pain in our lives and all the world. If we do not see the pain and the destruction, it is as if it never happened. To not feel the pain of the other is to say, I do not see you. No one wants to eat bitter herbs. No one wants to feel the tears flowing from our shattered hearts. Yet persistent denial of pain actually encourages others to deny it. We become part of a blockade to the reality of destruction. By naming the pain, we draw attention to the destruction, and others have to look too. By seeing the pain, we begin to disturb the status quo, and the status is not quo. The pain is what tells us we are in peril. We turn away at great risk. It is time to wake up, and the only way, the only path is through the grief, through the pain. This is a test of faith. As Unitarian Universalists, we may be humanist or theist, pagan or Buddhist, Jewish or Christian. Whatever our faith, it begins with faith in ourselves and faith in each other. Faith in yourself to bear the pain and not get stuck. Faith that you will be transformed. Faith that others will help you, that they too will journey and be transformed by the bitterness of the herbs and the salted tears of despair. Our transformation comes from a deepened compassion and the recognition of our interconnectedness. None of us walks through life without being touched by pain or despair. We all cry. We all must bear the pain of life. The earth is crying, and she needs us to hear her. The grains of gratitude help heal, encounter the greens of bitter wounds, and propel us to the next step in our culinary journey on the plate. And that's protein, the gift of life, giving us the capacity to see with new eyes, a new vision on the horizon. Buddhism teaches of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the intention of moving from personal well-being to collective well-being. It is the path to greater compassion for all beings, leading the path to enlightenment. Our transformation comes with protein, the building block of life and the source of energy. It gives us strength to look up and see beyond our self-interests, to see how our needs intersect with all humanity, and that we are a part of the interconnectedness of all life. And with that recognition that we are interconnected, we can see there is no you versus me, no selfishness versus altruism. These are false choices. They're a false binary. You and I are connected. My interests are your interests. We don't lose our individuality, but we lose our individualism. We keep our uniqueness, our integrity, with our particular role to play in the vision that we create together, a vision that must include the needs of this earth. An interconnected consciousness is a revolutionary step in evolution. We are more together than separate, more energized, more powerful, more intelligent, more creative. There is no longer a battle for supremacy. We are bonded in mutual sustenance. A different view of power means we are no longer engaged in a power over relationship. It is not win-lose scenario. It is not fear-based. It is instead collaborative power, where trust is deepened, faith is broadened, and creative energy flows in a synergetic, powerful force. This new relationship with power can't be hoarded, for it's held in mutual, accountable relationships. The beauty of this vision of power is we draw on our power and the power of others, increasing our bond of reliance and connection. Our communities are strengthened and they're healthier. As we are in a time of crisis right now, communities can pull apart or they can come together. So what are you doing to strengthen your community? Have you checked in with your neighbors? Do you look up and smile when you see a stranger on the sidewalk, even as you maneuver around them? Have you reached out to those who do not have the internet and are vulnerable to loneliness and depression? A new vision informs us that we are in this crisis together. These simple steps are a part of the great turning, small but revolutionary steps. From our neighbors to a large community, to the world community, to the earth community of all life, our vision must transcend all these views at the same time as staying grounded in each other. If you're having a difficult time during this pandemic, I invite you, step outside, sit by a tree, look at the bark, touch its skin, know its history, from seed to splendid spread of leaves reaching out to the sun. You are a part of this life. You are a part of its history and also reaching for the sun. And as you reach for the sun, remember, you are a part of a timeline, reaching back billions of years and reaching forward billions of years. You have ancestors who helped you arrive in this time and place. And future generations will also reach up to the sun for life and reach down to the earth for nourishment. This protein of life is our foundation as we go forth into the emerging future and partake in the fourth item on our plate. That's the fruit, or if you prefer, dessert. Dessert is our imagination, our inspiration. Our creative juices run amok, spilling over into the river and valleys of the future. This is the place of your dreams and aspirations. This is the place from which you go forth. Joanna Macy writes, "We are larger, stronger, deeper, and more creative than we have been brought up to believe." With each bite of our dessert, we begin with the what, and the path of the how will be revealed. For what does your heart yearn? Let the heart sing its song. Let the editor sleep. Its time to work will come later. We have to know that life is not static. Life is always evolving. Change is a constant. We can change the now into the future with our courageous steps. So what do you want? How will it happen? And what is your role? We are all, if you will, heralds and Harriets with crayons. The crayons made up of the world's rainbow of colors. Are you ready to begin to draw a new picture, to write a new story? What is the picture that you want to draw? Perhaps you can begin simply by drawing a colorful line connecting you to your neighbor. With our vision, we pause at a crossroad, not for the first time and not for the last time. We have a choice. I'm inviting you to move forward with intention to help change the world. Susanna Arundhati Roy, author of God of Small Things, an activist, recently wrote, "Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice and our data banks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it." End quote. Each of us can be a grain of sand turning the epic pace of time toward a hope-filled and sustainable future. We can become part of the tipping point of time, for we are a drop of water, and together we are an ocean of change. These steps are to be practiced, and you now have a wonderful resource for finding ways to practice these steps in Google Classroom, created by our own Arts for Mother Earth team. And you can find the link in the Wednesday email. And I also remind you, if you would like to be part of reading the book, Act of Hope, just contact any member of our climate action team. For now, let us nourish ourselves in a meals of grains of gratitude, the bitter greens of sorrow, and the protein of life, and the fruit of visions begging to be made. Together we are creating and imagining a new normal. Together we are cooking up a new future. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe.